This is the overview of the code of the sample data collection app built with Alpha Anywhere, the concrete mixing truck daily inspection application. And I'm assuming that you have seen the video that shows you what the app is like, and that you've perhaps installed it with the video that shows you how to install the sample files, and that you've looked at the panel structure, the video that explains the panel structure, so you have some idea about how this is broken up into different panels and panel overlays. And what I want to show you here is just a little bit about how the JavaScript code is organized and some of the XBasic code. The most of the buttons that you can push, etc. If you look at the JavaScript, it says dialog.object.myforms.performDemoLogin or some other function of that sort it makes use of. And those are all in the JavaScript functions. And this has been commented quite a bit. And they're to follow the technique of associating the code specifically with this particular component. It uses dialog.object.myforms, which is an object, and it stores the objects, values, and functions specific to this application, to this component there. And some of them are the messaging functions, which I'll show you a bit in a minute in this video, which are dialog.object.messaging, and it has the following data, some attributes of that object that are used globally throughout this application. And here are the functions and the different functions, messaging, show, etc. And we'll look at these in a few minutes. Then after that, there is the myforms, which is dialog.object.myforms object. And in that are the specific routines, the functions that are specific to this forms application that we're doing, like for panel buttons and stuff. And I'll show you a little bit about how those are used. There's one little function here at the end of messaging, which is special HTML escaping, that replaces characters in HTML with the HTML escape entities and makes well, it's supposed to be \n into a BR. So it basically makes the HTML safer in terms of letting you use these characters within names and things like that. So the messaging functions work on panel overlays. So if you look here, there are a whole lot of these panel overlays. Now, panel overlays are, from an HTML viewpoint, are basically a div that is absolutely positioned on top of the screen, on top of some other object, some other thing on the screen, like specifically over a panel, a piece of a panel, a panel that might be within another panel, etc. In this case, the editor previous and editor next overlays are over the editor panel, and they're used to provide those buttons that you'll see. Let's see if we bring up this. These buttons here are done in those overlays, and they just sort of, they're sitting on top of here, and they can be, and in this case, when I get to the end, you'll see that one's hidden and the other one comes here, then done shows up. Okay, so to control those, since those are common, and here's another one. These are more common ones down here. Progress overlay. This is shown while something's going on, logging in or syncing. An alert that has an OK button. And notice these ones don't have any text associated with them yet. They have a place to put text. This is called the alert body, and this is the alert extra body. And here's a button, and each of these, the delete warning, in this case, there's a message. Well, the message isn't filled in yet, but there's the delete warning message text and the delete extra to say some more stuff about it. So some of these, so for example, when you do, when you are going to log out, okay, the log out warning, that message is all right here. And it has the stuff, I think, ready to go. But so that if, let's say, but all these other ones have to be filled in where the message is filled in. So let's look at that code. So it's usually in the form of a panel overlay, and then there is the text and the description. So you use the messaging show where you tell it which overlay, which is the overlay element. It will basically, if you give it an overlay, then it gets a pointer to that name. And then this is the body. This is where the body is, the ID of the static text to contain the message text, the actual text to be set inside of that message, optional extra stuff that you can put in, and an optional class to be says the class name of the body. This can be used to like make it special for an error or something like that. So this class only affects the inside. So this is a way to be able to automatically just show something and then be able to hide it, because normally those overlays are hidden, and because this remembers up here which the element it is, then when you can call hide from anywhere without knowing what you're going to hide. You don't have to know what particular overlay was put up. You can just say hide. And you can also set the message and set the extra separately once it's been shown. And you'll notice that each of these setting of the message doesn't add to log. There's messaging, dialog.object.messaging.add to log. And that actually, if you remember up here, look over here, it says log entries. And what happens is the last 100 log entries are remembered in a list. Okay? And that can be used for that, for debugging purposes. And also, it's useful if somebody in the field calls and said, hey, the thing blew up. You can, or it dies each time, you can ask them to go to the part of the UI where they're able to look at the log, and they can read to you what happened, which is helpful. And you can add extra stuff in yourself. Here's the add to log function. And it puts an automatic timestamp on it. There's also a timer that can be used to be able to update a message automatically on it to say how many seconds have passed. So you can see that it actually is doing something. It's not just spinning a spinner, but it also has a timer going. And if you know that you have a certain amount of time before it's going to time out, you can see that. So let's see how that's used. If we look at, let's say, in logout, when you do a logout, if we look at that button, it says get a pointer to dialog.object.messaging, message, that's the object, and then do a show of the logout warning overlay, and no need to set any of the messages because it's what's already there. So this just will show it. And if we go look at it, logout warning, it's position top, bottom, left, right is 0. It's a panel overlay on top of everything. It starts out display none, and it has this class, and logout warning overlay is the name. And inside of it, it has logout will do this, cancel, and then cancel button just does a hide. Just going to cancel it, just covering over the screen. Nothing else has changed. But logout, if you actually do a logout, the logout does a hide and then does perform logout and switches to the main login panel. So this is a simple way of popping up this message. A little more complex would be, let's say if you do a sync, and it brings up the sync display, and that's down here, sync all, and sync all does .object.myforms.perform sync. Okay, so we can go there, perform, click on this to look for myforms.perform sync. Here we go. And if we're doing demo login, which is the thing I want to look at here in this example, then get a pointer to dialog.object.messaging and dialog.object.messaging.show of the demo sync overlay, and the message, set it to the word demo sync, and the extra, set it to the synchronization will be simulated. Okay, and use this look for that that first message, and that will bring up the demo sync overlay. And this is a different one, the progress overlay, the progress body. It says saving list edits, and the elapsed time is, and then it does a start timer. The start timer will automatically add to the body and the time in seconds that have passed. Or if there's an error in this case, the ensure current user logged in, then show the alert overlay with user not logged in, list edits not saved, and use the red. So this is showing you basically how the messaging functions are used, and it also shows you basically how the overlays are done and used to be able to pop up things, how the messages are populated, etc. And this should give you a little start on being able to understand how this works generally as an application, not specifically this application, but as a generic application. And in other videos, we'll show you how login works and how the forms work, etc. Thank you very much.